Hey everybody, this is Todd with Honeysuckle Farms. It's Saturday, about 11:30. We just got back from getting feed. We came up last night, but there was a major rainstorm. That it rained all night long. He said it's supposed to rain all day today, but we got a break in the weather, so we were able to run up and get feed, so that didn't get wet. Was able to come Thursday when we came up to feed. I was able to bring up some materials off the job site. I got these large culvert pipes that we're going to use down in the pasture if we can ever get the water down. And I ended up picking up my 2x for my window bucks for the second floor. So if the weather holds off, we may get up on that, start cutting our sills and putting our bucks in for our windows. So busy weekend. Like I said, we got the pig feed loaded up. We're fixing to check on the pigs. I kind of got a feeling I'm fixing to walk into something I don't want to walk into. I've already heard a couple of pigs screech, which leads me to believe that I think one of the criminals is loose or out. So I got Rustler with me. We're going to see if we can gather them up or see what we're fixing to walk into and go from there. We also got some plants. We're going to be planting some seeds and planting some pepper plants today. Maybe, cleaning up some beds, working in the garden. That's what we're going to be doing, getting everything ready to start planting. I like to plant a little early. Sometimes it bites me in the butt, but peppers usually do okay with the weather. Not so much some of the tomatoes and stuff. So I take a chance on some things, but we got a lot of things planted. We're going to check on them. So we've got a lot of work to do today so that hopefully we can get to work on the carriage house tomorrow. See how the weather holds out. So got to get at it. Well, I wasn't wrong. I came up here to the pig pens and walked into a real nice surprise. It turns out that the criminals got into one of our side pens, and evidently probably one of the bigger pigs helped them get out, break the board that we had the door in. Somehow they busted the door out, and now I've got the criminals in with the big pigs. This is gonna be not fun. Come on, guys. Like I said, with pigs, it's a never-ending issue, especially with these guys. You guys are nuts. Come on, get out. There we go. All right, all is well. Let me get back and do our chores. That's why we call them the criminals. I told you. These guys are something else. Alrighty, so, well, that took a lot longer than normal, but we got it all done. We got the criminals back in the outside pen and got them fed in the trailer. See, after a couple days, especially these guys, they do not care about eating up in there. Loading will be easy peasy. And our new guy Jake seems to be doing well. There's little Jake. He needs to grow fast. He's a good looking pig. Oh, and I want to make a correction. It was Trisha and Billy Ray, not Tracy. My fault. They're out of Lulu, Florida, and they have some really nice quality Berkshire. I'm real happy with Jake. All right, so got to get at it. One of my favorite areas, this is the pepper bed. This is where I grow all my peppers. So over here we have our onion bed, and I had some collards I threw in here, and as you can see, they're bolting. Now this one definitely got decimated by the rabbits this year. So what I put some of this fencing up and just left it this way. Eventually we're going to fence around the property, but haven't gotten to that yet. So we've got some garlic, some onions. I don't know what's growing in here. Over here, as you can see, we have our banana trees. Those poor things have been going through all kinds of hell to get going. Our ginger, I'm sure it will come back. There's some back on still underneath there. Yeah, there you go. Collards. We're going to open this up and pull some of the dirt back and do some weeding and cut the collards, and well, we'll go from there. All right, so welcome to the hoop house. In here we have 3 different growing methods. We have a bed, in-ground bed system, watered by underground finger PVC pipes that water underground. Nothing's watered overhead. However, there is the capability to mist or water overhead, but that was just put in case we don't use that. Second of all, we have the Aquaponics System. I took a 275 gallon IBC tote, cut the top off, flipped it, built a rack system to hold it on top of the bottom, filled the top with clay balls. I have a pump pumping water in to a bell siphon. The bell siphon, when the water reaches a certain level, kicks on and drains all the water back down into the bottom tank, where we have our fish. You have to excuse the dirtiness, but it's what happens in this time of the year. We'll be getting some algae eaters here soon, but in the cooler part of the year, it gets a little nasty. But to be honest with you, that growth shows that the water's healthy, so the fish it doesn't seem to bother the fish, so I don't worry about it. And then over to our third system, we have a hydroponic system. We have 5-gallon buckets here set up with the baskets and clay balls, all watered from a reservoir tank. It's a 40 gallon with a pump, submersible pump. It cycles in through each one of the plants, or the 5-gallon buckets, and then drains at the bottom and comes back into the tank. So it's a circulating system. We use a special fertilizer, an organic fertilizer in there that's made for hydroponics. It's made for our water too. It's amazing how specific you can get. But so what I did when I built this hoop house, I wasn't sure how I wanted to grow. You know, in the beds, I've always grown in soil. I've done some experimenting with tomatoes and hydroponics, and it worked out real well. So, and then of course YouTube got me. I started watching different YouTube channels on greenhouses and stuff, and people were talking about the aquaponics system, and that just drove me crazy. So we have all 3 here, so I could basically experiment and find out what does well best with what plant. And what I found out this year is that our cabbages did real well in the hydroponics and the aquaponics. We had some really hot weather, and I think I planted late, so they got a late start, but they're coming along soon, as you can see. So I think everything's going to work out. Everything here is set up on timers. I have a light that comes on, stays on for 12 hours a day, these LED grow lights. And then we have a water system that waters pretty much the underground plants, and then these are set to work their own way. So all ran on one circuit right now, one receptacle that I have ran from the shop out here. I ran one cord. We're going to eventually go underground as we expand the garden area, but for right now, since we're working here just on the weekends, I built what we have here so that we could grow our own vegetables and also experiment and find out, you know, what we want to do when we get out here living here full time, how big we want to get, how much food we want to produce, and the best way for us to produce that. So there again, that's what you have. We've got our herbs down there in the back end. The fish have a heater in the tank, 2 heaters actually this year, because I had a problem last year. I have an automatic feeder that feeds the fish once a day. If you want to look into the Aquaponics System, a lot of people use tilapia. I'm into high quality food, and tilapia doesn't have very much nutritional value for me, so we chose the bluegill. They're a much longer growing fish, takes much longer to grow, but the source where I get them from, I get them at a good age. They're already established and grown 4 or 5 inches long, and then we grow them out for our table at the end of a season, a full year. So maybe even longer, who knows, however long they stay in there. We've grown some really nice ones in there, and then last year we had an issue with the weather and we lost everything. So we're starting back over. It's all a process of learning what works best for you, your ground, your area, your weather, and your schedule. So this is what we got. Fixing to pull all the plants out of the bed. The bed didn't do that well this year. Of course, I have one lone tomato plant that came from a seed, I guess, and I just have a philosophy: if it grows, let it alone. And that little thing has actually got 2 tomatoes on it, and here we are in March. So it's been growing all through the fall. The rest of the cabbage didn't do that well, but anything that we grow out here, if it doesn't do well, it gets used in another way, and we feed them to the pigs, and they love the cabbage, they love the vegetation, and we think it does wonders for the meat. So we feed a lot of vegetation, we feed a lot of vegetables, plant matter to our pigs, and I think it makes a difference in a lot of things. So if it doesn't work, feed it to the pigs. Well, off to go do some planting and plant in the pepper bed, one of my favorite places. So we're done with our gardening this morning. We weeded our onion bed and pulled some collards, our last bit of collards. Looks like I more damaged them than anything. They'll do all right. And we planted our pepper bed. So this will be one. We've got a lot of pepper plants. I love pepper plants, so this bed I keep strictly for peppers, and of course my strawberries. And of course, then we'll plant some pepper plants in some of the other beds. We're off to we're going to take a little break, and then we're getting ready to get our tools together, go work on the carriage house. Okay, so done with our little break. Time to get to work on the carriage house. First things first, we got to change the blade out on the big saw. You see all the rain we've gotten. That thing was in a sealed package and still got wet. But going to swap out that blade, and then we're going to start working. I'm going to add one more course to the porch, and then we're going to start setting in the boards. I'm not going to actually fasten them down, but I'm going to cut the boards for the 4th course and set them in place dry, and then mark out for the windows. And then I'm going to have to take those same boards down, turn them on their side, and cut out for the windowsills. I'm going to have to lay that out and figure out where exactly we have to cut them in. So anyway, got a lot of work to do. Fixing to get at it.